to use the mind and use the words and use the scriptures and use the teachings and maybe use the butter on your bread, but
But
it's
I can tell you, they can try everything. They won't be able to experience it because
there is no one.
want to experience it. There is because when the experience implies too that when this is tasted, it cannot be spoken of.
Welcome, Darpana.
Thank you so much for getting in touch. And
Yes, why not? I see myself as in service, and why would I be in service? It's the most beautiful thing we can do, like to share and to it's very gratifying. So I love to do that. I love to talk to people, those have a glimpse of something divine, which is in everyone, I guess. Darpana, can I please ask you to present yourself a little bit? Tell me a rough little sketch so people know you a little bit better. Who's talking?
oh, no one's talking. No one's talking. No one's shaking these hands. It's nothing. Yeah. But apparently, in the apparent story, like there is no individual identity. There is no one. It's just this formlessness, which apparently dances or sings or speaks, or, it appears as everything. It's like emptiness, which is complete and full. But in this apparent, this form, this character, you could say, uh, called Darpana. I was actually doing the scriptures from a little bit of, I'm from India originally and have had a lot of Osho. My mother was quite into it. So she introduced me to Osho. So I've read a lot about that. So basically, I would say I had a lot of spiritual baggage. And when I came to the UK, I did my master's in comparative religious studies, got into scriptural studies, and did a master's in comparative religious studies, but with specific reference to the Guru Granth Sahib, the Sikh studies and the Hindu studies. And of course, majored in Sikh studies, went on to do the Sikh scriptures. But when I was learning that and I started reading the hymns, there was some kind of, because of course I told you there was listening to a lot of Oshos, and there were a lot of glimpses as children and a lot of witnessing. When the witness appears and it just watches what's apparently happening. And because of those glimpses and witnessing, there was something like the way it is translated is not, it's not, something's not, it's very dualistic. It doesn't resonate with that which is home, kind of. But there was a seeking and restlessness to seek that as well, because the glimpses would appear, and now I wanted that. I wanted that thing. So, of course, I went on to study and I approached certain teachers who spoke about this non-dual teachings, who spoke. And of course, I used to go to them about the Hindu teachers. They taught me the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, and those. And they used to constantly speak about this is this. But in a very roundabout and dualistic fashion. It was a kind of a teaching. It was not that unfiltered, that cosmic, you would say,
You mean it
kind of
was
knowledge.
abstract?
It was a teaching at the end of the day. But one of the teachers, he was amazing. And I constantly asked him questions, what about afterlife? What about reincarnation? And then I used to make these charts and take it and say that, look, what if I was this in this birth and this in this birth? And then what am I? And who am I? And what is this? And which takes birth, the first birth or the second? So if I'm like Ghazala Sheikh, or I'm a man, woman, soul, and if I'm a soul, then the soul is not born and doesn't die. So why all this drama? Or, and of course that went on, and life takes its apparent own toll as well.
I'm not so sure if he was happy for the
Yeah.
questions or maybe annoyed.
No, he loved them. He loved them. And then one day he told me, you need to go to Tony Parsons.
Oh.
And he sent me, he said, if you really want to understand the scriptures, go to Tony Parsons. Either you will find all your answers, or you will lose all your questions. The interrogator will
Wonderful.
die.
That's a wonderful promise. So what
Yeah.
happened? Did you lose your
So,
questions?
and he said the interrogator will die. And of course, I met Tony, and after meeting Tony, it was like the shit hit the fan. It was And I told Tony the first time, I don't understand a word you say, but it resonates. And then, of course, I've been with Tony since like almost 20 years now.
Yeah,
So,
wonderful.
and
Wow.
and
Hmm.
then no one died because there was no one there. It was an apparent clear seeing that no one is born, no one dies. There's nothing born, nothing dies. So, what apparently the scriptures sung, that there is no birth, no death, there is no one that is born or dies, it all seemingly appeared. It's just that the it's exactly life's exactly the same. Nothing changes because this isness cannot change. This nothingness cannot change. Only the interrogator does not appear, the one that used to own that constant, that this is mine, this is me, this is what it should be like, this, that does not appear. The rest, everything is exactly the same, and yet so alive and so new that it's so immediate. So when this singing started happening, I don't know. And then, of course, the writing of it happened. I wrote a book. I'll show it to you. Footprints on Waters Free. And
Yes. Could you please open the book and show me some
yeah,
of
yeah.
the paintings?
Yes,
If you
yes,
can
yeah.
hold them into the camera so
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can have a
sure,
look
sure.
at it.
Yeah. So did this paintings. My mother was an artist, so this was one of them. This was an ink illustration of
Yes,
canvas.
wonderful. That's a
And
very
and
important temple for Sikh community.
yeah, then of course, this was the non-dual election, how non-duality is turned into a subject.
Show me
And
the two eggs again. They were
yeah,
one, but now they are two.
yeah. It's like how non-duality. So in this book, it's like apparent food is the characters. So food speaks because food is all form is apparently food, isn't it?
It is divine. I mean, come on.
And all of it is handmade. This was done by my mother, actually. It is a crochet. She
Beautiful
used to,
flowers.
this is a honeybee.
Oh,
She did a crochet of a honeybee blanket.
beautiful.
So this is about food, how food seeks, and of course there's a reference to the scriptures. So right from the Guru Granth Sahib to the Bible to all the scriptures, the Hindu scriptures, and it speaks about life after death. It speaks about how non-duality is turned into a subject and an object. It's turned into something, whereas non-duality simply implies it's not two. It's not two. That's it. It's simply this. It's this. Whereas now non-duality has become almost like a subject that one has to learn or one has to gain or one has to even quit. It's almost treated into an object. So, okay, now I have got to rid myself of an I. So that I have to get rid of an I. It's just, like a hamster on the wheel, goes on and on and on seeking. So that's what has been written in this book. And I've used a variety. This is color pencils. This is where a lion turns vegan.
Still dreaming of the meat. I will put the link also in the description for those people, those are still attached to things. Please purchase
Oh,
this
thank you.
book,
Yeah, yeah.
okay?
So it is like lion turns vegan. There's elections, how non-dualities turn into a subject, how there is a seeking of a perfect shape, of a perfect state, of how, and whereas this is perfection, this is boundlessness. And of course, there are translations of certain Upanishad hymns, songs of freedom from the Upanishads, from the Guru Granth Sahib, from like Namdev, like he says, that wonder of being, that wonder of being. And that is like,
You are part of the Sikh community, I would guess, because why would you choose to study Sikh, and why did you choose to study the Hindu scriptures as well? Are they so much related, or what happened?
It's my mother belongs to the Sikh community, and my father is from the Hindu community. So, as a child, my parents could not care. They were not religious at all. But it was the grandparents from either side who tried to, that I learned the scriptures of that particular. So, my maternal mother, grandmother, and my paternal grandfather were quite keen. They taught me the Upanishads, and so basically trying to woo me to that particular. So the base was apparently like from childhood you listen. And because you're born and brought up in India, it's very common to have that kind of teaching. So when I came to this country, so that was like because I had a lot of apparently a bit of knowledge of the scriptures, it was very easy to get into that.
I think it's a blessing to have the old people, because when you're kind of young, you're very vigorously like keeping the boat upstream and trying stuff and more and more and more. And maybe sometimes it's the old ones, because they found out, well, there's no sense in that.
Yeah.
So they are a
Yes.
blessing, I would say.
Yes, I completely agree. Yeah. Apparently the story is amazing. Sometimes they come up with things like I remember being told by, like, when we say we're very proud of ourselves, as a child, you are, that sense. And I remember my grandfather telling me that the tree that has the most fruit is bent.
Be careful creating lots of fruits. You are a creator also.
But I won't say creator. It's that joy, it's the creativity, this joy of creativity, which simply like just pours out, I would say, apparently, with no one doing it. Yes, technically, my mother was an art teacher, so had the technical information about it and learned art from her and from various schools of art. But it's like more the pouring out of creativity, I would say, rather than being a creator, I would call it.
I asked you about your religion. Sorry, I interrupted you. I asked you about your religion because I wonder how much important it is it to be part of a religion, and what is your opinion about interfaith activities like talking between different religions, which you did in a way because you did talk profoundly to both of these religions, which are major religions in this world. But you are surrounded by Christianity. So, what is your take about that?
Religion, I think, is a very narrow path. I'm sorry. It's like something, yes, I studied the scriptures, and it's while studying the apparent scriptures, and of course, being with Tony, and this when this apparently started happening, it was seen as such a narrow path, an apparent narrow path. Of course, there's no path, but religion is very confined. It simply adds on to that song of freedom which appears in all scriptures. The golden nuggets can be found in every scripture. As far as what I learned, I found that golden nuggets practically, be it the Guru Granth Sahib, be it the Hindu texts, be it Islam, be it Christianity, be it the Bible, be it the Quran Sharif, be it whichever, wherever I turned, or the Tao Te Ching, wherever, whatever scripture I read, or the Zen koans, it was that these golden nuggets simply appear in all of that, and they have been confined into these religions, which is it's what's happening. It's not right or wrong, but it's what's happening. It's simply what's appearing, because it's the formlessness alone appearing as that form too, even as the illusion of the sense of self, or as a path, or as whatever. So it's not right or wrong or good or bad or whatever. It is what is. But confining that apparent song of freedom implies that it's not spoken of as it is written. Because then apparent uh, constriction, I would say, that energetic contraction of religion takes apparently over. And then whatever is that's hidden below the surface. So that these, like I'm telling you about the, whether it's the Guru Granth Sahib or the Upanishads, if you read the Upanishad, there's one particular Upanishad, the Chanda Yoga Upanishad, and that is like amazing. The way it speaks about this aliveness, it speaks about this oneness, is gorgeous. Likewise, if you see the Sufis, there is Rabia um, of Basra, then we've got Junaid, then we've got Rumi, we've got Shamsu Tabriz. There are several Ibn Bakhtar. When I was reading the scriptures, like it's so gorgeous. It speaks about this freedom, this isness, this unconditional love. And yet it is then confined into a book, into a scripture, into a religion, into something which is very important, very hierarchical, and all that which is spoken of, that song of freedom, is hidden.
But
So,
still, it's, I guess, is still drowning in scriptures is a kind
yes,
of worship. Also, you do it with yourself alone with some paper. I mean,
yes,
only the thing that the Granth Sahib, we worship a book as Sikh. That
yes, yeah,
sounds weird, for a Christian. At least we have a dead body hanging there.
yeah, yeah,
Sorry, Jesus.
yeah, 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 yeah. So, yeah, I know, but they're worshipping the book. First of all, it's not worshipping. The Sikhs never call it worship. The Sikhs, they say we pay reverence to the book. We don't worship it. We don't worship anything, according to the Sikh, that. But paying reverence also, then, okay, let me just pay reverence. The ritual becomes important. And what's written in there is basically avoided because it challenges the me. It
Yeah,
challenges the
it
self.
is
So,
scary. Our
yeah,
ego is like, no, 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 no.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to die. That kind of that illusion of, no, 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 I don't want to die. I don't want to hear that. So basically, I've seen in all scriptures, people fight with each other, they have interfaith dialogue, and then they want to respect each other. So it's all one end to the another. It's like a spectrum, apparently spectrum, where people there's extremities from one to the other, and then the whole apparent dance of that which is there is so that that can be avoided.
I just had an image coming to my head uh, of like an egg, when there's this life inside of the egg of a newborn, and eventually the shell, which might be the religion, has to
Yeah.
crack because the soul is expanding in a way.
There was something very beautiful Osho had said once, which I had read in one of his books. Is one of my favorite book is where he teaches I teach death anyway, to highlight that there is no birth and death anyway. So he says in that, he says that I don't know if it's in this book or not, but there was one particular thing which Osho said. He says if you want to avoid something, he says best is to seek it or worship it. He says, become very smart. Don't kill it because by killing it, you just create that thing. He says the best thing is if you want to avoid something, start worshiping it. Then you don't have to listen. You don't have to challenge. Apparently, that I will not get challenged. The apparent I will not get challenged if you start worshiping something. So he says, if someone tells you something, just start worshiping them. Then you don't have to listen to them. He says that's exactly what we Hindus did.
Oh,
We
interesting.
started worshipping. We put that apparent image in the temple and said, stay there. You just stay there. I don't want to listen to you. I'll come there and I'll worship you.
So it can be a trap to like spending time worshiping something which actually does not exist.
Exactly.
But
Mm.
for me, it is also like God is present in all matter. It doesn't matter where I look, inside, outside, left, right, up, down.
Yes.
God is everywhere. So yeah, I can even. So he's even in church.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He is
Exactly.
in
Yes, yes,
he
yes.
is inside the,
Yeah.
the idol we look at. There
Oh,
is
yes, yes,
God.
yes. Yes, yeah. Yes, if you, whatever you call it, formlessness or God or, whatever, you can name that anything. That's just a label anyway. Divine or whatever. And yes, that formlessness alone is. That alone is. It never leaves. It
Hmm.
never leaves. It cannot be enhanced. It cannot be added on to. It cannot be extracted. It's there in the Gurdwara. It's in the church. It's in the, and yet it isn't.
Yeah, you
The
made a
temple.
very good point. I mean, when we like attach it to an object outside of us, we're actually missing we're missing the goal, right?
Yeah, the illusion that attaches to it. But that's also the divine, isn't it?
Yes.
That's why the Hindus call it, one very good word which I like with the Hindus is the Leela.
Hmm.
And the Sikhs call it tamasha. Tamasha is like it's like a street play. It's like a play. And the Hindus call it Leela. So of course Leela is called in Sikhism as well. So because the philosophy is the same. Because Sikh and Hinduism is like the Eastern philosophy is very similar.
So, as a teacher that you are,
No, I'm
maybe
not a
you
teacher.
can,
I wouldn't.
for those who don't have any knowledge about Sikhism,
Yeah.
maybe some people already lost us because of what they are talking about. But for those who heard about it, but can you please elaborate a little bit about Ek Onkar?
Oh yeah, I'll have to cover my head in that case. Yeah. Ek Onkar is
I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you.
so Ek Onkar is it speaks of one energetic uh, presence, appearance. It's one energetic, one ek is a numerical number, and Onkar is energy. It's pure energy. So it says one energetic presence is appearing as this Satnam. Sat is to be, and Nam is the labels, the apparent label. So he says one energetic appearance alone is appearing as all form, as all labels, even as the illusion. And yet it is timeless, it's pathless, and it alone is appearing as this creativity. It is the light, okay, it's the container and it's the contained. Karta Purak, it's the container, it's the contained, it's appearing as the light, it's appearing as the illusion, it's appearing as all form, and yet it is not. Akal, and it is cannot be confined as any form, and yet it is appearing as that form. And it doesn't have any enmity. There is no other. Nirpo, it goes on. And it's fearlessness, which can apparently appear as fear. So this is Ek Onkar. It's just one energetic, this appearing as this immediacy, this isness, this shaking of the hands. It's very alive and new. They say, Mera Sahib, Nanak says, Mera Sahib Nit Nava. Nit Nava means it's very alive, and very new. And Nanak speaks about this energetic appearance as the beloved. He says that this formlessness, this nirakar, niradhar, this nirakar, niradhar, it's the formlessness that is appearing as the form. So it's the beloved that's appearing as the bride. And in absolute gorgeous poetry, stunning, I would say, poetic rhythm and meter, highlighting the very simplicity of this illumination, of this isness. Guru Granth Sahib is Song of Freedom. It illuminates, I wouldn't say it does not lead to liberation or enlightenment. It says enlightenment is. Illumination is there. Whether you avoid it or whether you chase it, whether you seek it or whether you stay still. It is. It is this. So this energy, Ek Onkar, is. And yet it isn't, it is untouched. So it's very paradoxical. So that is why it calls it a kath. It cannot be spoken of, it cannot be defined. It's indescribable, it's ineffable.
Still, it's very beautiful to talk about it. And I appreciate that you put your scarf because it's a sign of respect. And
Yes.
it
Yeah.
should
The
go
in
it should go both ways. I
Yes.
would I would
Yeah.
love like also and actually they do, but I mean that religions we should accept other people because they are part of us, you know. It doesn't matter how they dress, how they look like and everything.
Exactly.
So it's so important, you know, so I can choose to be respectful and I can show that I have respect. So nothing happens, you know, if you put yourself
Yeah.
a scarf on.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
respect shown by that, and it's the choiceless choice, I would say.
Yes, I mean, maybe for you it's also an obligation because you are from the Sikh community. So, especially people would look at you if you would not
Yeah.
behave in a way. And of course, we have to behave in society. It's, I mean, even if you take a flight, you know, you're not like going crazy because you
Yeah.
will not take that flight.
Yeah. My teacher, the Sikh, the one who taught me the Sikh scriptures, he said something very beautiful. He says, the scripture and the tradition around it. He says the tradition is we cover our heads, we have faith, we have that kind of, we follow the apparent rituals that are asked of us by tradition, not by the scripture. Guru Granth Sahib says nothing about covering your head. It talks nothing about faith. It is traditionally done that. And he says that tradition is also the divine. So he said, whatever is apparently happening, we respect what is happening. And that's why he says, but I would not say that we respect. I would say respect appears or it doesn't appear. So even whether it is rebellion or whether it is following rules, it's simply one and the same.
For those who are listening, I would encourage you to look it up, Gurdwara, close to you. Just go there. You can go there and you can listen and you are yeah, doing some practice maybe and you might get free food afterwards. There we are back to the food, you know.
This is something the best thing about the Sikh community. As children, when we went to the Gurdwara, like with our grandmother and we went for food, literally. For us, it was nothing. But sitting there, the listening to that hymns of freedom, because we know the language, there was something very freeing about it, something not very confining. And it seemed like, because it speaks of this freedom, this isness. It's later on when I apparently started studying it, then that freedom saw that illumination was always there, whether we went for the food or whether, and this is the best thing about the Gurdwara, I think, the food. It's so selflessly the service that is there. It's very selfless service. And no segregation, nothing. And that was something that really attracted me more towards Sikhism because that's selfless service. Nothing to practice. You don't have to sit and sing hymns or whatever. Just go to the Gurdwara. You can go in the kitchen and it's like selflessly serving without there being that I am doing it. This is something there in the scripture, in the Guru Granth Sahib, which I really love. It says that there is no doer. It's apparent doing, apparent happening. Because it says that formlessness alone is performing. That formlessness alone is performing. So when it is selflessly being done, you are not doing it. You are not sharing. You are not doing charity. We don't do charity in the Gurdwara. We don't do donations. We just share with everyone. And it's just that is something I really like about that.
Interfaith activities mostly work very well when you share food. It's like, and when you go to the Gurdwara, you listen, and if you understand, I mean, there's an opportunity, there's a seed put into your thinking, and eventually it will flower. I mean, there's no stopping. It will happen to everyone. So we can relax about it, I think.
Just listening to this song of freedom is amazing. Nothing might happen, or it might. There's no rules, like no causality attached to it, because that's what the Guru Granth Sahib says. There's no causality attached to listening to this. It might not happen. But that um, that flavor of freedom, I would say, is apparently present in the hymns. And that flavor on being tasted, it's like that taste of freedom on listening to the hymns might, if it appears, it's like, wow, it's like so indescribable. Like if I have, say, a sweet or say an apple and you haven't eaten, how do I describe the apple to you? But the taste is so intense on the palate, isn't it?
Yeah, the music also
Oh, yes.
it transmits, but I think it is kind of important. I experience myself. It depends who is performing. So the person who makes the sounds, who uses the words, if they themselves realized some of this, it's so much more powerful. What do you think?
Music is so close to this is this, I think. I think that this whatever is appearing is music. Whatever is appearing is music. Whether it is cacophony or whether it is psalm or whatever. Now I listen to the psalms as well, when I go to the church or when I go to my children's, the I used to go to their schools and universities. So yes, that thing. But music, when it is that, it touches that isness, it's the because everything is music, isn't it? Everything is this whole, it's like an orchestra. This whole apparent appearance is like an orchestra of music. And if that song of freedom is sung, it touches a chord somewhere. It's like, I like at the gurdwaras when we go and sing, listen to the hymns. Yes, some of them are absolutely gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. It's like, you can't explain, you can't speak about that. It just becomes too ineffable to speak about that music of that, that's singing that song of freedom. And likewise, I had recently attended in Christchurch Cathedral, Oxford. They had their 500 years so recently, and I went there and I heard their choir. It was like, music is whatever the apparent faith, it touches that something I can't describe, and it's so ineffable because this whole thing is music. So yes, some of them, I would say, when you spoke that some people know how the power of say, I would say that maybe that they are not present when they're singing that. It's just music. It's just divine music. So when the sense of self is not there to own, and of course there is no sense of self anyway, whether there is an appearance or there is no appearance, there is no sense of self. The illusion might appear later on to own it. But sometimes it's like, the Hindus call it the flute. It's so empty that the music that flows is like,
What I mean is like people those have they are clean and they, as you said, they are the channel, they are channeling the divine in a
yeah,
way. It's not that
correct.
it comes out from this person with this story and this knowledge and this name and
Yeah,
this power.
yeah. I wouldn't call clean, but that music is like, it's just oneness appearing as that form, appearing as that song, appearing as, that, and it could be a cacophony as well. It could be very badly sung as well. But yet it is, that is also it. But the one that's sung well, it's like it touches the, it's very, it's too alive. Everything is too alive. But yes, that freedom, that boundlessness is apparently felt when it's that song of freedom is sung well. So whatever the apparent faith, I would say. Like even in otherwise that day, I was hearing someone It was a play, I don't know. It was beautifully sung. It was very beautiful. Even like Shakespeare now, if you see, it talks about this non-duality.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Oh, Shakespeare's amazing. I think
Hmm.
everything, music, art, colors. You see Van Gogh, it's like that intensity of color.
It shows the vibration, no?
It's yeah,
Everything
yeah,
is
yeah,
moving. Everything
yeah.
is moving.
It's
Yes.
that aliveness that is captured, that
Hmm.
I wouldn't even say captured, it's that aliveness that is apparently music, art, poetry, food.
I mean, for those people, those want to experience it for themselves, there's a very easy mantra, and maybe you can elaborate a little bit about it, which everyone can do. You can hum and you can make the sound Om.
For me, everything is divine. It's not restricted. Again, if we say it's an om, we'd be restricting it to a particular sound or a particular, uh, it's everything. So I wouldn't say, yes, om is an amazing mantra, but neither the practice of it will lead to this illumination. It will not, because illumination is there. So how can something lead to something? When there is already light, how much more will you switch it off, switch it on? Do you know what I mean? When there's already light in the room, how can you switch it on? It's already light. It's already. So I wouldn't say that confining it into any mantra or any hymn or any song or any place or any, because this is timeless and spaceless. So how can it be confined into any song, any book? There's a very beautiful that the ninth guru, uh, Guru Tegh Bahadur, yeah, he said something very, very beautiful in, like, when the Sikhs got this book, it was stolen and whatever, and the Sikhs got this book, and they said, this is the Guru Granth Sahib, we've saved it and whatever. That time it was not the Guru Granth Sahib, time it was the Adi Granth. The Guru status was conferred by the 10th Guru. So he says, the moment you confine the divine into a hymn, a song, a book, a place, anything, the moment it is confined, he says, then it becomes a religion. And he says, because this boundlessness cannot be confined. So that was something when I read that, I said, wow, it cannot be confined. It cannot be confined in any prayer, in any hymn, in any ritual, in any practice, in any song, in any that, because it is everything. And yet it is nothing.
I mean, I hear the agnostics, they're like celebrating. Yes, 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 there's nothing. She wasted her time reading all the scriptures.
It couldn't have been otherwise.
Yes, I'm trapped in one of these because I very much like overtone chanting, and so I'm teaching it, and so
Mm,
I think it's for me it was kind of very beneficial. It's kind of
yeah,
confirmed, no, there is an experience of the divine, that's and that I appreciate a lot.
yeah, yeah. And that's what's happening, isn't it? And that's amazing, isn't it? That's what's appearing and that's what's happening. And that's so gorgeous. That this beauty of being, this wonder of being, appearing as that chanting, appearing as that steps that is taken, appearing as the breathing, more intimate than breath, more intimate than sound, more intimate than everything, and yet absolutely untouched. How gorgeous is that, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's so easy apparently.
Yeah, nothing has to be done for it. It doesn't. Um, there's one very beautiful saying in the Guru Granth Sahib. He says, "Vada data til na tamai." He says the God has no standards, no demands, there's no criterion. The God is not pleased by anything. You don't have to do anything. It's It's basically, I wouldn't so call it birthright, but it is. It's like the beloved that is just waiting. No, I'm not waiting, not waiting for you, not waiting for you to return. Not, it just is at your beck and call, basically, isn't it? It always is. It has no demands, it has no preferences, it has no judgments, it has no issues, it doesn't want anything. It just is. And how gorgeous is that, that it has no demands. It doesn't expect anything out of you. No right, no wrong, no. And that's the whole beauty of divinity, I think, of it just being. Spirituality, I don't know how to define that word. I really don't know how to define that word. It's too complicated, you know. It's spirituality is not a kind of a path, and it can become a very big baggage, and it can become another confinement, just like, and it can become a drug as well, just like anything else. Just like it can be very addictive, like alcohol and other substances. It can lead to a lot of arrogance. Oh, I'm more spiritual, holier than thou attitude. It is turned into a subject which I don't understand at times. Being alive is the most beautiful and most spiritual thing, isn't it? And who stays alive? What control is there over the body? The body stays alive on its own. It doesn't need us. If it needed us, what about in sleep? And as for, yeah, what about in sleep? When we sleep, the bodily functions go on. Breathing happens, heartbeat happens, digestion happens, everything happens on its own. It's
Yes.
just that, it's that apparent arrogance of the illusion of self that thinks nothing can happen without me.
I'm so
Yeah.
busy, every morning I have to pull out the sun. I have to
Um,
check if my heart is beating.
Beating,
My
yeah, yes. Exactly. And whereas everything is simply happening on its own, it doesn't require me to do it. That's arrogance, that. So spirituality also becomes another path, another obstacle, another baggage, another holier than thou attitude. It is what's more spiritual, and spirituality is then looked up as, those um, trees swaying in the golden sun and the wind blowing. Spirituality is heat, spirituality is humidity, spirituality is anger. And this is something Hinduism shows very beautifully. They show the goddess as angry, as irritated, as wanting to kill, stepping on the husband. It's just, they show everything. That everything is spiritual. Whatever. It's not confined into being nice, into being good, into being that. And birth and death, again, are too complete. There is no birth and no death. If you read the Bhagavad Gita, and there is no birth and death, tell me, it's just an apparent, everything is very alive and new, appearing and dancing as this. It's this, the loudest sound. Mm, this, and that loudest sound is Onkar, that Onkar or energy, what we call. You can call it Onkar, you can call it Om, you can call it whatever, but it is, it's this alive in you. So where's birth and where's death? And all the scriptures which I have read say that there's no birth and no death. So, like Bhagavad Gita says that, Guru Granth Sahib says that there's no one that's born and no one dies. It's simply a very dreamlike appearance of isness. So that's why it's so. If everything is that, then spirituality, say I become spiritual, is another dualistic proposition, isn't it? And this is what happened while reading the scriptures. I started off as religion, studying the scriptures, and everything disappeared. That's why I told you, when I met Tony, everything disappeared. That's what I wrote to you as well. The shit hit the fan and everything like was zoop. That energetic contraction. Me, I'm here, I'm studying the scriptures. It's all about me. It's all about my seeking. It's all about my holiness. It's all about me reaching somewhere. It's all about me getting enlightenment. Was zoop, just disappeared. What me? Where am I? What am I? Nothing. And that's what the scriptures point towards. That's what, like that finger pointing to the moon, you must have heard in the Zen teachings. That's what the scriptures point towards. That nothingness, that alive dance. Sorry.
So that's kind of the trap, you know, it points to something, and then you know, instead of to go to where it points, we grab the finger.
Perfect illustration. Yes. Exactly. We've done, oh, this must be it. This must be it. And religion is beautiful. Had we not had gurdwaras, the food that everything is as it is. There's nothing wrong or right. Rebellion is not right. Rebellion is not good. If you see literature, art, and, it's like if you question society or you question religion, it becomes very profound in some faiths. That's why we look at Renaissance as something very great. But no, it is not like that. Following rules is also that. Having religion is also that. Going to the Gurdwara is also that. Going to the temple or the church is also that. It is abiding by those rules, following that. But everything is that. How can something be split apart from it? How can something be right or wrong? How can something be better or worse? There's no hierarchy. So, yes, it's not like I wouldn't say it's serving its purpose because there's no purpose, but it's like, yes, that is equally divine or equally not divine. Because everything is formlessness. So going to the Gurdwara and following the rules is just as beautiful as not doing it. It's just as it's the same formlessness that is appearing as both and as none. So going to the church, going to the Gurdwara, going to the temple, following the rules, not following the rules, it's all the formlessness. And why? There is no why, because there is no other or something apart from it. And that's what the scriptures have been singing about. Especially the Guru Granth Sahib, because Guru Granth Sahib, Nanak really opposes the rituals prevalent in its times. And then he alone says that he goes against those rituals, that just by doing this ritual, you're not going to find God. And yet, it is that ritual as well he speaks of.
And still, I mean, there's a desire still there for peace, for freedom, and we are in a very vicious world where war is worshipped. And do you have any idea what stand to take or how to deal with that? Because people are worried, they have fear, and they have, of course, empathy. I mean, they feel bad about what's happening to others.
War is something that's like being around, I think, integral. And so is peace. There is war, so the apparent opposite appears, peace appears, and war appears. Demand for peace, demand, then war appears, that kind of thing. The two apparent opposites will apparently appear when there is the one and the other. As far as war or peace, I would say it's just one appearing as both. But as a character, as a person, I literally detest any kind of violence. I just cannot stand it. I just cannot handle. Not because it's happening to the other, or it is happening to me, or it's happening to this body. Any kind of violence is absolutely detested by this character. Any kind of violence. I just cannot tolerate any kind of. But the very basis of this apparent appearance, the very basis of this apparent appearance is violence. The very basis, food, the food chain is violence. Okay? So to survive, apparently, the form to survive has to eat something else. So whether you eat vegetables or you eat meat is one and the same thing. It's like there is a very beautiful hymn in the Guru Granth Sahib as well, in which Nanak says, "Mas mas kar murag jhagde gyan dhyan nahi jane." It's like what is pure and what is impure and what is. So violence is the very basis. Even the birth of a particular form is violent, because apparent birth, I would say, the one form coming, it means there are many forms that are apparently not coming into appearance, that kind of thing. So violence is the very basis of all appearance. And naturally, when violence appears, its opposite has to appear in this apparent things, to show that there are no opposites. And this is what the Guru Granth Sahib speaks about as well. So to show that there are no opposites, it's just what's appearing. But for this apparent appearance to appear, there has to be a balance of two has to appear for there to be a form to appear, basically. But personally, if you ask me as a character, I can't handle violence. If anybody being beaten up, I get too chills, like but then that's what's the conditioning or the apparent circumstances which happen to the character. So wanting peace is another form of violence, according to me. Yes, wanting anything that you're wanting, constantly want, that this is not good enough. And wanting war is also violence. So someone coming and saying, I need to attack, that's power, isn't it? Power, violence, anger, that I need this. So if you don't give me, I'll declare war. So the illusion of I is very greedy. This sense of self or the illusion is very, very greedy. It constantly wants. It's like a magnet, constantly zoop, 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 zoop. And if I will not get it, I will attack, I will kill, I will destroy. We have perfect examples, apparently, in this world who do that. If you don't give me this, I will attack you. I will do this. So because that is so greedy, it's constantly wanting. But then fighting against that and saying, let me fight against this, is also fighting, isn't it? I want peace and I'm going to kill you just to have that peace. What is considered as good can become another prison. And this is very beautifully explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Because Arjuna, who does not want to fight a war, he's confined in the prison of being good. I don't want to fight because I'm the good one. I'm the nice one. That's the prisons of goodness. And that's what Krishna tells him. It's just another prison. Leave you alone for some time. You'll be killing birds and beasts. And you'll be killing something else. You're going to be violent anyway. Violent. So that self-reflection, it reveals, it unravels the fact that everything can be turned into an object and become, okay, now I want to kill. Now I want freedom, so I'm going to kill you for that freedom. Now I want peace, so I'm going to kill you for that peace. Another form of violence. So, of course, violence is the basis of this appearance, but peace is not fighting against it. That
Yeah,
is another violence.
that's very beautiful. And I would like you to talk about free will, because maybe I have the light and then I have the darkness and then I have the free will to choose. And most possibly always we choose the light. What is happening there? Is there free will?
No, there's no free will. No, but it gets worse than that. It's not that there is no free will. It is that there is no one that has free will. Yeah. There is no individual, solid, static individual identity which has free will. Free will appears, but it is not there because there is nobody there doing anything. It's apparently the one dancing as everything. So it appears that, oh, there is, just like time, just like the sun rising and sun setting. Does the sun rise and the sun set? It
Mm,
doesn't.
no, it does
Is the
not.
sky blue? No, it isn't, but it appears blue. Yeah. Likewise, there is a very beautiful scripture called the Yog Vashisht. It explains this very beautifully. Just like the sky is appears blue but is not. Like the sun rises and the sun sets, but it does not. Likewise, free will appears. But it's not that there is no free will, it is that there is no one separate from all of this to have free will. The darkness is absence of light. It's not that something that is there as a separate, solid, static entity. Light is always there. Darkness is simply there is only light, and darkness is simply an absence of it. Yes, as a personal character, I do not like violence because that's my conditioning. As a conditioning of this apparent character. Likewise, you will have a certain conditioning. A murderer or a thief or a criminal will have another conditioning. You know, do you know that there's this conditioning, this apparent conditionings, apparent nurture, you could say, or whatever? That's in the story. In the story of this apparent conditioning of this character called Darpana does not like violence because that's maybe the conditioning, the belief system I grew up with, or what has apparently happened, or whatever. Yeah. But there is no choice of choosing non-violence or choosing violence. It's because there is no Darpana that is doing this. Yes, in the story, the apparent characteristics may appear and may not appear. But there is only light appearing as this form, appearing as the form of hands, appearing as all forms. It's only light. So there is no choice between light and darkness. There is that darkness is apparent, what to say, absence of light. Light is all there is. And then it may appear that there is no light by there being an illusion of self or ignorance or whatever it's called. There may appear, but it's not so. And appear, it's like a dream. In a dream, we can travel from say Germany to Vietnam in literally a second. So or we are cooking and then we're doing something else in a dream. This appearance is very much dreamlike. It's it's just like that. So the light is always there. It's not that the light is not there. The light alone is. There's nothing beyond light. The darkness appears just like the sun rising and sun setting. The sun does not rise and it does not set, but it appears to. So both two appear. Light appears, dark appears. And then there appears the illusion that I can choose between the two. But then that is what we call Leela, Maya. The appearance of Maya, the appearance of the illusion of the self. And that Maya is very enrapturing, it's very captivating.
Oh,
And that
that's very
Maya
nice.
makes that thing appear that I am an individual and I can choose between light or between dark. I can choose between violence and non-violence because they are two opposites. Actually, there are no opposites. It's just what is very alive and very new appearing as this. It's appearing as this, it's appearing as this, it's appearing as this, it's appearing as this, it's appearing as everything. And then because in this appearance, the one has to appear. So if there is only green color, you cannot identify green color, can you? If there's only green, how will you say this is green? You can't. So likewise, this myriad colors appear. This innumerable colors appear. And that's why it said, this is violence, this is non-violence, this is dark, this is light, this is this is that labeling. That's what I was telling you. This labeling is also that. So choice appears just like the sunrise and sunset, but there is no choice because there is not that there is no choice, there is no individual to have a choice. Dark and light appear, but they are not there because just like the sun rising and sun setting, it appears and it's not there. This cannot be spoken of.
And so we speak a lot about it.
Yeah, and yet it's shouted out from the rooftops.
It's right there in front of us. And we use the mind. They say it's here, but maybe it's here or somewhere else, or maybe not even. It
It's
doesn't
not there.
exist
Yeah,
in a physical form.
yeah.
So this is wonderful, and it's miraculous, and it is so entertaining. And yeah, still, then I still I appreciate it. It's a great thing for those who want to experience the divine, to use the mind and use the words and use the scriptures and use the teachings and maybe use the butter on your bread, you know. But
But
it's,
I can tell you, they can try everything. They won't be able to experience it because
there is no one.
want to experience it. There is because when the experience implies too, that when this is tasted, it cannot be spoken of. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like the experiencer has to die.
There we are again with the death thing.
Yeah, yeah. It
And the
apparently has to
ego
die. Yeah.
and the ego cries, no, I do not want to
Yes. The ego
die.
says, I don't want to dissolve. It wants, because I told you it's so greedy, isn't it?
I have to go now. I have to do the gym because my body and I eat healthy and I do this and yeah.
Good luck, you
Oh.
know. I always say, like to say, good luck with experiencing the divine.
Well, yeah, okay.
Because the I is so greedy, isn't it? I want to experience the divine because somehow I'm so great that I want to experience that. I can bring the boundless into this small, tiny form and say, look, I'm so great that I have experienced the divine. Look, I'm so great that I'm enlightened. Look, I'm so great. It's all greed, be it the greed of money, or be it the greed of name and fame, or be it the greed of seeking God and wanting to possess God. It's one and the same thing. It's the same greed.
Yeah, greed is infinite. It's like
It's
there's no
infinite.
limits. I mean, even
Yeah.
like as an artist, I think you might want, some people are attached to greed. They want more money, they want to be
Yes.
famous, they want to be recognized. But who is doing the art if there's no one present?
Yeah, that's appearing. And that's the most gorgeous thing. It's like the one who's doing the sleeping, that one's doing the art. It's, you know, this whole this spirituality, like we were speaking of, it's this greed, you know. I want to there is a very beautiful story in Hindu religion about Ravan. I don't know if you've heard of him. The Diwali is celebrated when the Ram returned home. And Ravan is basically Rudhan. It starts going to deep and it's very different, you know. Of course, there's no deep, but whatever. It go into deep of Ravana. Ravana means something to cry, to scream, Rudhan. And he, in that apparent story, he wants to possess the divine. That's his main aim, to possess the divine. And there are so many stories which say every time he tries, he fails because the divine cannot be possessed, cannot be experienced. It's boundless, it's formless, it's infinite.
It already is, yeah.
It already is. So, how can it be experienced? Yeah, and who's there to experience it? When it alone is everything, this is complete humility. Humility is not being less. Humility is not something people equate humility with, oh, I'm much lower down the hierarchical chain, whereas God is here. Humility is absence of self. That's complete humility. I'm not, you are. That's complete humility. And that's complete compassion as well. And that's empathy. That's compassion, empathy, and humility, not what we deem it to be. Complete humility is I'm not. And not saying, it's just I'm not.
Thank you so much, Darpana, for this wonderful interview.
Yeah, thank you so much for speaking to you. And it was really, really amazing. Thanks.